Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Fannin's Flashbacks, the podcast that nobody asked for, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. This podcast is going to cover tales from IWA Mid-South during my 12 years with the company, and it will be a part of the VNMVS Podcast Network. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only due to the foul language and graphic details about deathmatch wrestling that it will contain. This will be your backstage pass to get a peek behind the curtain at what led to the downfall of the craziest independent wrestling promotion of the late 1990s, early 2000s. And without any further ado, Nick Manawa, hit the music. Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 15 of Fannin's Flashbacks. It's the podcast nobody asked for, but I decided to give it to you anyway. These are tales from IWA Mid-South during my time with the company from 1997 to 2009. I am joined today by the most electrifying man in the history of IWA Mid-South, the greatest dancer and showman in IWA Mid-South history, a great high flyer and a hardcore icon. He's a former two-time IWA Mid-South light heavyweight champion. He is Nate, the Spyder Webb.
Am I on?
You are on, sir.
You realize you got my name wrong again. It says Spyder Nate Webb right there in the corner. Like, didn't you do that before?
Yes, the very first show you ever did at IWA Mid-South, I made the same mistake. I guess only fitting I would make the same mistake. Introducing you for the first time on the podcast, my apologies. It is Spyder Nate Webb. How the hell are you, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We're trying to survive this polar vortex that's been attacking the country and making my bones and joints freeze to death.
Yeah, I talked to what was it when this hit? I talked to Sunday night. I talked to Nigel McGuinness on the phone, and he asked me. He's like, "Mate, how's ice out there?" And I'm like, "What? How's the ice?" And I'm like, "Well, I said we didn't get hit bad as northern of us, and I think southern Indiana got the whole. I'm going to make this story short. This whole thing went on for about 5-10 minutes before he said that I realized. He said then he brought Minnesota into it, that he was talking about the organization and not the Storm. So that was kind of awkward.
So it was your own little version of who's on first, basically.
And he kept going, and then he goes, I said, when it was me, because I said I think Minnesota got it, and Chicago and Minnesota got it a little worse than, and then that's when I paused. I said, "Are you talking about the weather or the agency?" And then that's how that happened.
Yeah, I can see you and Nigel doing something like that. I always start off the podcast though by getting to learn about how my guests became a wrestling fan. So how did an itsy bitsy Spyder Nate Webb get hooked on wrestling?
It's all Rocky III. I mean, that's pretty much as far as I can remember, because I didn't really understand it. I mean, it was younger, and then I saw, Thunder Lips there.
Thunder Lips, the ultimate male.
And then right about then, WrestleMania, the original, it was right around that area, that era, Mr. T and Roddy Piper and all that.
Okay. All right. And were you in Indianapolis at that time, or?
Yeah, I've been here my whole life.
So,
but like that was kind of the kind of thing you had to. WrestleMania happened, and then you had to wait for it to come to the video store so you could go rent it.
Right. We had in Morris, where I grew up, we had a little video store called Movies by the Mile, and I would go in there. Not so much for the WWE ones or WWF pay-per-views. I've expressed on the podcast my mostly eternal dislike for that company, but I would run and get whatever Turner Home Entertainment pay-per-views would be released for NWA with the stuff that the Crockett's were doing. They would have that. I would grab a couple of the, I would eventually watch the WrestleManias. I would eventually watch, once they started the Royal Rumbles, I would watch. I think I gave maybe one or two Survivor Series a try before I stopped watching those. Mostly because I hated the fact that, I grew up, Starrcade was Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
And then Vince decided to squash, Starrcade by putting Survivor Series on Thanksgiving night. And so just out of loyalty to the Crockett's, I would not, I never really got into the Survivor Series stuff, but yeah, I definitely can understand that time frame. Hulk Hogan was huge and became a huge star because of his turn in Rocky III. I was familiar with him before that, since he was like a top draw in AWA around that time frame when the movie was made and came out. And being a Chicago guy, AWA came on the religious channel on Sunday mornings. You could get up and watch 1 hour of AWA wrestling before the church services started up in the Chicago market. So
we didn't have it down here. No, we had NWA on like 23, but we didn't have AWA.
Okay. All right.
And like, as I said, it was like more of a kid thing. And then once I got into like, I don't know, maybe middle school, junior high, I didn't really watch it that much. And then it was like right after high school, and then I started watching it again. And then one thing led to another, and there you go. Dropped out of college, became a professional wrestler.
Okay. Well, I stayed in college. I've never used my political science degree that I ended up with from the university.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Not these days. You don't want.
Not these days. You don't want to be in that. So, never used the degree that I earned. But
not in this economy, pal.
No, not even close. So, you were a fan. You got out of it. You come back and get into it. Said like high school and college age is what made you decide at that point that becoming a wrestler was something that you actually wanted to do.
But we were watching, me and friends from back home or here would tell them, I was like, man, I want to do this. That'd be so cool. Like, you're not big enough to be a wrestler, and pretty much everyone told me I couldn't. So that's when I was, I did it out of spite, really.
Well, just to prove the friends wrong. Sometimes that's all the motivation that somebody needs.
Yeah. 26 years later, 27 years later.
Okay. So you decide you want to spite your friends. What did you do to actually get to break in? How did you find your path in?
I found it on the internet when the internet was young. I found a local wrestling school thing. So I went there, and they looked at me like, "Oh man, we're not really looking for wrestlers right now. We're looking for referees." And I'm like, "I didn't come here to be a referee." He goes, "Well, what can you do in the ring?" And I said, "I can do a backflip off the top rope." And he's like, "We'll get in and do it." Now, mind you, I've never been in a wrestling ring. And two, I've never done a backflip off of anything.
Okay.
So I went to the ropes, and I went to the top rope, and I did a backflip, and I landed on my feet. I don't know why, and I don't know how, but that's a true story. I don't know why or how I knew. I just kind of did it.
Well, that's kind of amazing. In 12 years of doing shows, I climbed the ropes twice. only one time did I go like onto the apron and climb from outside the ring to try to climb up the ropes, the traditional way.
Yeah.
And that was when it was the 8-man tag elimination match that we did in the Blue Barn building when Too Cold Scorpio came in for the first time.
Oh,
And
in Charleston?
everybody in Charlestown, and everybody did dives. Even Ian did a dive. Brett Blades, as the referee, did a dive. I did a dive. So it was like 10 people did a dive in this
Ian
match.
didn't do a dive.
Yes, he did. He got up onto the top rope and did a fall. More, not quite a.
We had a 4-way in the ECW arena, and it was me versus Necro versus Corp versus Ian. And he called the spot that he was going to go to the top rope, and all three of us, me, Necro, and Corp, and this was our first time, or at least me, Necro, and Corp's first time at the arena, because we lost the thing. It was with the IWA invasion of CZW, so he made us all wrestle each other. And Ian said he's going to the top rope, and he's going to come off with a senton, and we say, okay, we'll catch you. And he goes from the ring. We're all outside, selling, getting up. He goes to the second rope. He gets first. He goes to first rope first, and then the second rope. So he's actually stepped, and then he goes to the top rope, and he's still holding on. And then he climbs over the top rope to the second rope. Then he climbs down to the first rope. And then he just climbs down to the apron and jumps off with a double axe handle on all three of us. That was his dive, even though it was a senton.
Yeah, well, I got to the second rope, and then it took me a good 20 seconds of everybody standing on the floor looking up at me going, are you going to do something or not, for me to get my to get my foot to the top rope. And then I ended up double kneeing Too Cold Scorpio in the head and almost killing him because of how big I was coming down.
Did he try to grab your eye out?
He did not.
Okay,
he did not.
Well, because he could have.
He just splatted to the floor, as did everybody else, as did I. And that was the only time I ever tried it that way. And then there was about 3-4 years later was when Pondo talked me into taking the flare bump into the thumbtacks barefoot, and they had pulled my shoe off
with ICP.
No, it was Corporal, Pondo, and I was managing Necro, and it was a 3-way. Okay. They were thumbtacks. They weren't even barefoot. They had their stuff on, but I came in to interfere, and Corporal and Pondo went to attack me. I tried to run out of the ring. As I'm going through the ropes, Pondo's able to pull my shoe off on my escape route. And so I'm trying to hop on one foot so I don't put my bare foot down into the tacks. And the only option I have is I jump up hop up backwards onto the ropes, and I sit on the top rope while crouched there, and they flare bump me from there. I didn't even get up to the top rope after my first experience, how hard it was. So that's very impressive to me that I know how hard it is to try to do anything top rope wise when you're not experienced at it. And so I'm blown away that the very first time you get into the ring, you break out your very first backflip. That's impressive.
Kind of felt like a trampoline.
Well, I've heard people say that. Some rings definitely more trampoline-like than others. I don't know how many people would call the IWA ring a trampoline.
Well, I mean, the rope is one.
Yeah, the rope.
The bounce, it's on the rope. It shot me a good amount, and I'm just like, woo! Just kind of shot me around.
Okay.
I remember when I landed, I was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, I landed. I landed on my feet. I'm like, ah. Then I had to teach myself to land on my stomach. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have crash pads. I don't think those were invented till the mid 2000s.
Well, and how many independents would have had money to have had something like that?
None that I went to. Everything I practiced, I did it on the bare canvas. It was stupid.
Yeah. What made you decide to end up trying the hardcore stuff? Were you
I lied.
okay? So just
I
like you
lied.
lied about being able to do the backflip, you
Yeah,
just
I Pondo and where were we at? We met. Was it a Texas Roadhouse? No, it was a somewhere. And we met Ian somewhere in Indy, and he said, "Oh yeah, the Spyder's a wrestler." He asked me if I did hardcore. I'm like, "Yeah, all the time," and I didn't. So I lied.
okay.
And then yeah, that's what. I mean, I think I'd done one or two at the time, like one against Tony on a midget show, and then like one against Corp, but like nothing big or whatever. I think my friend then that's how I just lied and said I did death matches, and there you go. I'm doing death matches all of a sudden.
Well,
So basically, my whole
if,
career is nothing but a lie and a big scam, a big
well,
for something that was despite my friends that were being dicks. 27 years. When I get to 30, I'm just going to jump out. It's like, I got you. Fuck you all.
well, I will say this: I had Madman Pondo on the podcast. After I had him on the podcast, he talked to I was not familiar with the book that he had written, the Memoirs of a Madman.
I think he
So
has a second one coming out.
he does have a second one coming out. He made that announcement a couple of weeks ago. I posted. He sent me a video, and I posted it on my socials to help him get the word out. He doesn't know when it's coming out, sometime this year, but he did write a second book. But for Christmas, I went ahead and asked. I put it on my Christmas list. The in-laws got it for me, and I gave it a read. And one of the important things that was in his book, he talked about being on the set of the movie that he did with the guy that played Freddy Krueger.
Oh, the horse.
The horse, and he tells the story about where he would heard the people on the set say, anybody asks you if you can do something, you always say yes, and it'll get you more opportunities in the movies. It'll get you more opportunities to be in the extra scenes. Always say yes. That's the rule of improv. Always say yes and go with it. And he did not know how to ride that horse, but he got the scene where they ended up just finally letting him walk the horse through the camera shot. So,
I like how he said, man, there's something wrong with this horse. Horse kept throwing him off. It's like, there's something wrong with this horse. Like he knew he was talking about. He blamed it on the fucking horse.
It's all the horse's fault, not the fact that he had never done it. So you've learned that very similar lesson, and you've went with it throughout your entire career. Just always say yes.
And you know what? That's the shitty thing is I'm not a liar. Until now, I'm not a dishonest person, and now I feel like a huge dick.
I don't know, Nate. You've admitted now to lying twice, and
yeah,
it's a slippery slope, my friend.
Crazy.
So according to Cage Match, which great site that I get most of my memory refreshers.
I don't think they have half my matches on there.
That has been like Mark Wolf had more matches listed on Cage Match than Bull Payne. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not on there, but it is a good little piece to try to remember certain things, and it does have quite a few of the IWA stuff. I've noticed there's some stuff that's missing or a little off that is on there, but for the most part, it's pretty good. They had a lot of your first matches that's on that site was for a group called WCWO.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to you and told you we're both forgetful in our advancing ages that we have going. So we tried to give each other just a little bit of a heads up of some of the stuff that we would discuss just in case we needed to refresh our memories. So I told you about this. You had a couple of matches against somebody named Vomit, and that just caught my attention right off the bat.
He wrestled in IWA.
He did. Okay.
And I believe that was the show where the clowns were on the double the thumb the barefoot thumbtack match.
Okay, the sweet
That's the old.
science one that they came into.
No. You know what? Maybe it was fuck. Maybe it wasn't that one. No, the midget. Were the midgets on that show?
I believe so. I believe they were on there, and
There was one where we were there, and he wrestled. He did a hardcore match, but I can't remember who it was for. I remember because on that one of those matches was Kickboxer and uh and Hero, and they did like a Rana the off the where the commentary was
okay, yeah,
up
the
there. But
our
anyway, yeah,
version of the Eagle's Nest in that building.
yes.
Okay. See, I have no. I would think that I would remember somebody named Vomit, but I have no memory of.
Yeah, he was one of the Wicked Jesters. I don't know if you remember them. And Ace.
Okay, I remember he had the rubber chickens, right?
Yes,
Okay, I remember him.
he was his tag team partner for. They were called the Wicked Jesters.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Ace. I do not remember Vomit.
Yeah, Vomit. I wrestled him a couple times. Yeah, I actually that's if the one you're talking about, if it's a one singles, that's where I dislocated my left shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was a singles match that I saw listed.
Yep.
Because it was one of the very first like I say, one of the very first matches that you allegedly had, according to this website. But as you said, they're missing a lot of your stuff. So
Oh yeah.
it may not have actually been one of the first ones.
Yeah. He was one of the Wicked Jesters, and he was around for till like the early two. Then he moved, I think, to Illinois and had a family and whatnot. And
So a family of Vomit.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. He had a little girl back then, and I don't I can barely remember my lives. I don't know what other people, but I think he got married again and had some more kids. Like there was like a kid from being a kid yourself, because I mean he was pretty young, and he had a daughter, and then now he has a family. It's a long story. I don't know the whole thing.
Right.
I can't remember it,
All right.
but I always got along with him, and Johnny's his name.
Okay. All right. Well, the seventh match they had listed for your career was an actual cage match against Don Basher. Was that your first foray into hardcore?
Oh no, not at all.
Match?
It was just like I wasn't even wearing. They put me in a mask because I remember they streamed it live on pay-per-view, and I remember it. They streamed it live on pay-per-view. So or not pay-per-view, like maybe like the first type of streaming thing.
Yeah,
I think it was on
internet pay-per-view, whatever they want to
something
call
like
it
that,
then.
and I don't know who did it, but like we're talking, this is like '99. So I have no clue, but I remember, and they put a mask on me for some reason, but they still called me Spyder Nate Webb. And yeah, it had nothing to do with hardcore. It was just a cage around a ring.
Okay, so
I mean, like it was a regular match with it.
A cage match in name only. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I might have hit the ropes a couple times and got thrown over the cage. I don't remember. I remember being in a mask and wrestling, and I just had to let people beat me up because I didn't know any better. That's how I was trained. Basically, a bunch of people just beat me up, and I was just supposed to take it, and that was part of the business. I've learned that for about a year, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm done.
Well, it's you got to take the good with the bad. You learn. You're in the ring. You're doing different things, and
Because I told him I was coming to IWA, and he said, "You all right?" Oh, to the midgets, and he threatened to blackball me from the business. Said I'll never wrestle again. I remember that because I wanted to go do stuff with the midgets, but I don't understand. I can't. It's so hard. Like it's so stupid now. I'm like I was really nervous, like I was going to get blackballed because I didn't know any better. And then I'm like, that's how I met Pondo and Tony and Corp and Mitch and everyone. And then eventually Ian and then into IWA. So,
Well, it ended up working out for you. The guy was definitely wrong on you'll never have another match because
yeah.
here you are several decades later still doing it. So
Yeah.
he missed on that one.
I've wrestled in 4 decades.
That's just, I don't need to feel any older than I already am. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not all that familiar with the Indiana Kid Jr., but did you ever beat this guy on Cage Match? I think I counted about 20 times that you guys wrestled, and he won every single one of them except for 2 that were no decisions.
I won. It wasn't against him, but I threw him out of a battle royal to win a battle royal.
Okay.
And that was it was the same night as my first match. So technically it was my second match.
Okay. All right.
Because I sold the most tickets. Like there was like 200 people there that were people that were there to see me.
Okay. And
in a small basement of a church. It was ridiculous in there.
okay. Well, I had just had Mitch on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he talked about his series of matches with Corporal and said how Corporal never wanted to put him over and how he hated those matches. Is this what was going on with Indiana Kid Jr. and you, or
it was Don Basher, the owner's son. So I mean, he wrestled in IWA as well.
not a whole lot? I know he did a couple.
Joey Owens. I think he stopped being Indiana Kid Jr. and went as Joey Owens.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably at the. It had to have been towards the point where I had mentally checked out of the shows.
Oh yeah.
I remember that he did a couple, but he was not. He definitely wasn't a mainstay.
No, I mean, I always got along with him. We always hung out because he was closest to my age. He was just the owner's son. I mean, like he never was never mean to me or anything like that. We always had fun. Okay. So it really didn't bother me that it's weird because I'm one of those guys, like it never really bothered me that I lost. If you look, I'm probably lost 80% of my matches.
Well, and that's the thing with my managerial career. I would lead guys to win a tournament and won quite a few titles. But if you look overall at it, the majority of the time, we were losing almost all the time. And especially leading up to the War Games match, like we were losing every match that we were in. Ian and Dusty would beat us. Ian and Terry Funk would beat us. And, it would just be
because that's how you build up the War Games. Have the babies go over.
Right.
Sorry.
It's always, and it just, it doesn't matter. If you're good at what you do, you're still gonna have the crowd, even if you lose. At least anymore. I mean, because it's not like the 60s and 70s where the crowd's not in on it being predetermined. So
right.
It would always make me laugh when there would be certain people that are just never gonna lose. And
I was talking to Jimmy Jacobs yesterday. It was, and he was telling me about his wrestling lately and stuff, and he said some of it's different and some of it's weird, and he sees some things that are not right, and he's like, he wants to tell say, hey, this is what we should do, and then and I'm just like, I threw all that out the window. It's like I just kind of I don't know what's right and wrong anymore. I think I've forgotten more than I've learned.
Well, that happens over time as well, and I've definitely forgotten more. but I've been out of it for so long that it just happens that way. We talked a little bit about your debut in IWA Mid South at the very opening of the podcast. Other than me getting your name wrong, on November 17th, 2001, you defeated Mean Mitch Page in your first match in IWA.
That was a day before my birthday.
And
you know the weird thing is that was kind of a tough match, and it's not because of Mitch or anything. First of all, I thought he won. I don't remember winning that match. There had to be some reason because him and Pondo were in a feud, and it was and I didn't know all the etiquette. Like I said, I didn't know all the etiquette. I hadn't been around a lot of places, only WCWO at the time in the midgets. So, I didn't know shit. But I knew that Pondo, their tag team broke up, and they brought me, Ian brought me in to be Pondo's number one new best friend, was how I was billed or whatever, Spyder Nate Webb. And then my first match, that wasn't my first time there, but that was my first singles match. And I kind of went in there. I didn't know what to say. And I'm just like, kind of like this. And about, 15 or so minutes after Mitch came up to me and he's like, you gonna say hi, or you're just gonna go out there and wait till we just have a fucking match? We're in the goddamn main event. And I'm just like, I'm terrified, because I don't know what the fuck to do. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just don't I don't know. I didn't know the etiquette really, and I'm scared to death because I'm there by myself. I don't know anyone. I know Hero a little bit. And I'm like, I'm going to get murdered. And they're going to find me in a field behind the place. But, we went out there and after the match, it was like night and day. We called some stuff and then we went and we had a blast out there. Just like there, I remember one spot that, we just been being dumb shit.
Okay. And you said you came in to be Pondo's new best friend.
Number one new best friend.
Where did you meet Pondo? You had mentioned that it was like Pondo, Tony, Corporal.
I met them through the midgets.
Okay, so it was through the midget shows, and and then they got you into IWA through that. Okay. And the next thing that I had written down, because you became a regular pretty much right away with the stuff, and we did the show at my high school in Morris, Illinois, and you were the one that got to wrestle Todd Morton.
Yes, sir.
There was almost a riot, even with a foot of snow had fallen and really destroyed. That show would have had at least 2,500 people at it. It would have easily sold out, and we still had like between 700-800 people in a foot of snow at the show.
And I don't care what anyone says. I know Eddie Guerrero, and it was like Rey Mysterio was on the show, or was he on the show, or was it just Punk and?
It was Punk versus Eddie Guerrero, and it was Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Ace Steel.
Okay, that's what it was. But the night before in Indy,
it was a three-way. It was a three-way with Punk, Eddie, and Rey. Yes.
So, and I don't care that those were great matches, but I swear to God, me and Todd's had the biggest pops of the fucking night.
Oh, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. It was
because I literally thought that guardrail was coming down.
I thought it was coming down. Todd had those kids worked up into a lather, and
it wasn't any. I mean, and that was all Todd. It could have been anyone in there with Todd, but that was all Todd.
Yeah, it was all Todd. Was a master at it. He sat down with me before the show and asked me all about the high school, since it was my school, who the rival was, and they had just lost in the state championship game to Joliet Catholic on a controversial play. The refs ruled Morris out of bounds on what would have been the winning touchdown. The head football coach had a 18 by 24, or it might have even been 24 by 36 size picture blown up and hanging in his office that clearly shows the kid in bounds with both feet and the ball when he catches it. And, the Morris and Joliet Catholic were the rivalry. And going back to when I was in high school there, my freshman year, the 8th grade year, we were state runner-up. And then the next year, we were the favorites to win the state championship. We were ranked number 1 in the Chicago Tribune and the Chicago Sun-Times all year. We were even, I think we had gotten as high as number 5 in the USA Today for entire teams nationally that year. And we thought for sure that we were going to win the national or the state title that my freshman year. And we ended up having to go to Joliet Catholic for the first round because the way Illinois did the playoffs back then, the first round was on a Wednesday. And since it was a school night, they automatically put the teams that were closest together geographically into the first round. So you wouldn't have to travel as far and you'd be able to get home earlier on a school night to go to school the next day. And so Morris, number 1 in the state, Joliet Catholic, number 2 in the state, had Mike Allstott on their team, who went on to be a star at Purdue. So you probably familiar.
Yeah, no, I remember from here at Purdue.
And then he was, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and was
he's a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
I'm not sure if he made it into the Hall of Fame.
He's kind of he was the last major fullback. That was when that was position. He was a fullback, run you over fullback.
And he had made Pro Bowls and everything else. And I mean, he was a stud. And he was on that team. And we had to go to Joliet Catholic for some reason. I don't know why they made it where number 1 had to go to number 2, but would play on they put the game. It was like a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Wednesday. They let Morris High School, we got out at noon, and almost the entire school, they bussed the 30 miles to Joliet so we could all be at this game. And I mean, it was the rivalry, public school versus private school. It had everything. And so when they beat us in the state championship game just a couple of months before this Morris show, the town was just in a frenzy and so mad. And when Todd was just rubbing it in their face that, Joliet.
And how many years later was that?
And, well, the rivalry started in 1990.
But what year was the loss?
Well, they beat us in 90, and then they beat us in 2001.
Okay.
So it was literally just a couple of months before this show, and so it was the last game that they had played.
Got it.
And so the players were pissed off, the coaches were pissed off. They do the deal where, I tried to get the coach to be the one to interject himself into the match, but he didn't want to do it. So we went with the super fan of the team. Charlie Clemens was.
So that wasn't the coach?
That was not the coach.
For some reason, all these years, I thought it was the coach.
No, it was not the coach. It was his.
They all fucking went ape shit when he punched him like it was the coach. Wasn't the finish a punch into a schoolboy?
Yes, but he was the father of the captain of the team, and he was one of the head guys. There was a group called the quarterback club that would help raise money to buy equipment and everything. He was the head of that, and So he was like the number one fan of the team.
Got it.
He had 2 or 3 kids that ended up playing on the team, but he had a son that was, I think the kid played middle linebacker. He was like the starting middle linebacker and was an all-state player and was the captain of the team and was a
he would
big
have thought
wig.
when I remember that when he blocked Todd's, he was on the apron and he blocked Todd's shot and then punched him back and right into me, a schoolboy. And dude, that place when he hit, dude,
Well,
it wasn't the fact that I won; it was the fact that Todd lost.
Right, and that was everything about that match. And when he got involved, every single student that was up in the bleachers came running down to that guardrail, and I thought we were
like,
all going to die. I thought for sure that
I thought they were
going
to get in the ring. I thought they were going to get in the ring. I'm like, they're going to rush the ring. I'm getting.
It was.
It's like they won the fucking the state basketball championship. They just rushed the floor.
Yeah, it was. That was one of the most amazing moments to this day for in my wrestling career, being able to have that show at my high school.
We should do another one. 20 some years later.
Yeah, no.
No,
because you did another show in Morris. We couldn't even we couldn't even get back into the high school. That was just a whole rigmarole.
I remember I wrestled God from Michigan. He wasn't around long. But I remember he was around hell was his name?
I think it might have been like Jamie Cox or something.
No, not Jamie. Right? No, I wrestled. I know Tom or Jamie. God, he's kind of like his gimmick was a shooter guy, blonde hair, stockier dude. I'll think of his name.
Adrian Serrano?
No.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, well.
Okay, yeah, I forgot we went back.
Yeah, we went back, and that was a colossal failure. But that night was just magic with Todd, and I still get goosebumps when I think about that. With as wild as that crowd, it was as close. That was as close to a crowd reaction that I would see growing up watching the Crockett's and the Rock and Roll Express against the Midnight Express, things like that, where the crowd would just absolutely lose their shit and be going bonkers over the finish or anything going on in the match. And it was a magical moment. Wish that we could have been able to be in front of crowds like that more often. I got
to interview Ricky Morton once. It was on a GCW show back during the pandemic when they did that 24-hour wrestlethon that was streamed. It was like, well, who are we gonna have? Someone needs to interview Ricky Morton. It's like, I'll do it. What are the questions? So I'm in the middle of the ring with a Tracy Smothers shirt on, I think.
Nice.
Interviewing Ricky Morton. And I was all trying to be professional, like how wrestling guys did it, because I've never done something like that before. Right. It's pretty cool.
Doesn't get much better than getting to work with Tracy Smothers, getting to work with Ricky Morton.
Still working with Ricky Morton. I still see him.
It's amazing that he's still going.
Yeah.
Shortly after that Morris show, you had a mini feud with Chris Hero.
Okay.
There was a singles match that you lost, but then you won a 2 out of 3 falls, and you won a 30-minute Iron Man match against him. Do you have any memories of those matches?
I remember the Iron Man match the most because, man, that was so long. But I've also wrestled Hero another time where it went like 47 minutes and it wasn't even supposed to. Like it was in like Noblesville, Indiana. So, but yeah, I remember, I remember the Iron Man match a lot because two things happened there. It was the first time I ever did a ladder salt, and it was the first time that I ever did the moonsault Van Terminator.
Okay.
Was at that match at the in Clarksville in 2002. It was
Now,
April. Was it April Blood Showers or Best of the Bet or
Simply the Best, April Blood.
Simply the Best?
So much of that just runs all together. But yeah, they had. Was that another instance where you just said you could do it and had no idea?
No. I mean, I could do it.
You knew that you could do the go all the way across the ring like that?
Oh no. I never tried it. I said I could do it.
Yeah. So
I said it'll be fine. Hero, just fucking listen to me. It'll be fucking fine. And then after that, I do the fucking ladder salt for the finish. He's like, well, I was like, dude, it'll be fine, dude. I do it all the time. like I can do this. It's fine. It's like, are you sure? Like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, those things were that, but that match, no, it was supposed to. I remember like I did my whirly gig. I kind of landed where it hit his knee and he got mad, kicked me in the ribs, knocked the wind out. We used to get in like fights in the middle of the match sometimes. Like we'd get in a real fight in the middle of a in the middle of a wrestling. I mean, it's always your best friends. Just stop it. Just listen to me. I don't know. And then it was that cool spot where he put me under the garage door and pulled the chain down. He jumped and pulled the chain down, and the garage door closed on my chest because I was laying on it like a guillotine garage door.
Right.
And then there was, remember, on one of the sides, there was a pole by the thing, a pole by the corner of the ring. And I went up with the chair, like I was going to do a chair assault, and he grabbed me and he pushed, and I went flying with the chair off the corner into the pole and the chair, and you just heard clang, and the chair was between me and the pole, and I slid down it.
Yeah, so you got the field goal kicker doink effect and the fireman pole,
yeah,
or stripper pole, whatever your likes, maybe however you want to look at it. But yeah, those provided
fun
some
matches.
Good memories.
That was fun to learn stuff like that. Just or lie about stuff that you did learn.
See, there we are with that lying again, Nate.
Yeah, I'm starting to think. No, I didn't lie. I just said, dude, you'll be fine. See, I didn't lie about that.
And he was.
Yeah, he was fine. Fine. I didn't lie about that. I've done it before. I didn't say that. I just said, you'll be fine, dude. It's cool. Don't worry about it. I didn't lie about that.
Okay.
Just to get into wrestling and to get into IWA. That's the only two.
Well, sometimes you got to fake it until you make it. And we get to the 2002 King of the Death matches. So you just had like this amazing run in 2002. You had that match with Todd Morton. You had the matches with Chris Hero. Then you get into the 2002 King of the Death matches, and you go all the way to the finals.
Yeah, that second day was rough, man, because like the first day, there was 24 people. So I only had one match. And the second day, I had 3 matches. And I don't know if you remember that, but that building was like 90-some degrees.
Oh, it was always brutal in that building.
And then
inside the steel warehouse.
Even though that first match was pretty brutal at Pondo, because that's when I came off the wall. Or no, that was the second day. The first match was against Chucky.
Yeah.
Lucky 21 staple gun or something.
The staple guns, yes.
Gimmick. We did that, and then the second match was the first match on night 2 with Pondo, and that just that was because I remember that that jump. It's so hot in there, and then it's the semifinals. It turns out.
Well, let's not skip over that jump, because that's one of the more iconic moments in the career of Nate Webb. And didn't you tell me at one point that you weren't intending to go that far up the wall?
No, I wasn't intending on going that far up the wall, but I looked when I was up there. I'm like, that's not that much high. And then I pointed, and when I pointed, everyone started cheering. So I'm like, okay, it's fucking.
Now you got to do it.
And I went up to the highest I could go. I mean, the next one was only like this. And I'm like, that's about it. And I'm looking around, and I'm looking down. I'm like, ah. And I can't climb back down and do it from where I wanted to do it, but.
Well, Ian Rotten showed you that you could. You could climb up to the top and then climb all the way back down. And
yes.
Just came up. You could have just came off
the double. Yeah, just kick the fucking leg out from under the table.
You could have done it that way. You could have done it that way, but no, you had to climb all the way. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have never seen that, you need to seek out King of the Death 2002 King of the Death matches is available all over the place.
You can watch it on YouTube.
You can watch it on YouTube and watch Spyder climb up the water spout all the way to the top, and then fly off.
It was Dave Prazak and it was Prazak and Punk on commentary. He goes, I need goggles, Prazak, and because I remember when Glass hit Punk from the shatter, because the tables were right by how they were stacked, they were right by the nest,
right
where the commentary was. Craziness.
Yeah, and after the Pondo, you defeated
it was dysfunction. And that was a really hard match because like the ring sagged, but the barbed wire canvas was pulled taut, and you couldn't walk, and you kept getting falling down when you weren't supposed to be falling down. It was just kind of rough to do.
And it was almost like, to me, and I mean, I wasn't in there, so I don't know, but from watching it and seeing it, to me, it was almost like the running backs trying to run the ropes and trying to run the tires.
And if you look at that match, a lot of it, we're like, fuck this, and we go outside. Like, I had him powerbomb me on the outside, I believe. I thought I saw a thing where he did a pile of chairs, just a concrete floor and a couple chairs laying down, and did he powerbomb me on him?
I think so. And that was the thing with, we talked about how, you just said it'll be fine and did stuff, or said, okay, I can do that. A lot of times that's how it was with these stipulations on our shows. Ian would just come up with an idea, or somebody would come up with an idea. They'd be drunk, they'd be high, and they'd be like, how about if we did this? And then we would just be like, oh, okay, well, we'll try that. And I can't remember if we ever had done that before with having
not at that time. Someone else.
I tell people like that.
People have asked me about it, like, hey, should we do that? And I'm like, no, dude, it doesn't add anything, because you don't get to. I mean, maybe if it was like parts of the ring, like in the corners or something, or the canvas, but like in the middle, you're just taking a bump on barb, and it wasn't even curled up, so you couldn't really see it.
Right. There was no.
You could feel it, but you couldn't see it. So I still have a scar on my back from it. Like, one got in me and just ran like about a foot down my back from here, and I still got the scar.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. If you watch it, we were like, as I said, I think a lot of it was out. We just decided to go outside the ring and do it that way, because it was just kind of stupid. And then I actually felt like after that match, how it was I got like, maybe they gave me a little extra time, because after I won that match, the next match was the finals. So I had to go back to back, and I was exhausted by this point. And we had the lobster pit where the lobsters fucking died. And
yes. So I was gonna ask, what were the memories of trying to use these dead lobsters and trying to make it look like they were.
I didn't think they should have been put out there, but Ian put them out there anyway. Like, you can see they're not fucking moving, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, and Necro put one, and I wasn't gonna touch him. Like, I might have, let Necro throw me in him, whatever. But Necro grabbed the fucking lobster, dead as fuck. It's just like like a marionette puppet, and he shoves it up my shirt. and he cracks me as hard as he could with a chair, and it just blood or just lobster guts and shit.
Lobster guts. Oh.
And they smelled so bad because, like I said, it's like 95 degrees in this fucking building. And I'm just like, ugh. And it's just dead, rancid lobster. And I did something where, like, I was like, motherfucker. I reached in, I grabbed another lobster, and I turned around. I just cracked him as hard as I could in the face with a fucking dead lobster. And it just goes flying apart, and guts go all over the fucking crowd. It was horrible, dude. I mean, like, it was funny now, but like then it was just like, it's like, why do we have these dead lobsters? They're already, and there was only like 3 of them.
Like, well, lobsters are expensive. God damn it! That's four hands of blackjack per lobster that you miss out on by having lobsters. So,
oh my god,
you can't do it, and I can't. Luckily we were out in the middle of Nowheresville, or else we would have had PETA and ASPCA and everybody else, picketing and protesting like hell outside the building if they'd have known what we were doing to those poor.
Well, they were already dead. Yeah, and we didn't kill them.
Well, I mean, we did.
Well, no, I mean, me and Necro didn't kill them.
Right, you didn't, but the whole ordeal, they knew what was going to happen to them, and they just committed lobster suicide, baby. I don't know.
Fuck it. I thought I was going to get pinched. That's all. Like, I was like, this is going to pinch my fucking goddamn finger off. Because that's what Nick was like, I'll put one on your finger, you put one on my finger. I was like, I don't think we're going to have our fingers after that if we do that. And luckily for us, they died. So,
well, you come up short in the King of the Deathmatch finals. And I don't think you never made it back to the finals.
Nope.
So that was as close as you got to being the King of the Deathmatch, but you can say you made it to the finals and take great pride in that. Your hot streak in 2002 continued for a little while longer, and you win the light heavyweight title from Dysfunction in October of 2002. Do you have any memories of the match where you actually won the title? I'm imagining that it wasn't running tires and running the ropes with the stupid barbed wire to the canvas.
No. I remember the finish real well because we had a pretty good match, I remember. And I stood on top of a ladder and I did the white boy fucking vanilla ice dance. And then I jumped through my leg off the ladder and landed on Dysfunction through the table, and that was the 1, 2, 3. And it was really cool on camera. I remember that.
Okay. And then right after that, you lose in the first round of the TPI to Sick Nick Mondo.
Yes.
Do you have any memories?
Well, we wrestled 3 different. See, they all blend together because I think we wrestled 3 different times, and I don't remember which one's which.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit with me,
because we only wrestled 3 times, and he retired that year, 2002, and we got to wrestle 3 times, and we still talk every now and then, believe it or not.
Okay.
But yeah, and we had 3 matches, and I do not remember which match is which. I remember it all blends to one match to me. One was like the 300th show, one was TPI, and there was like 299th show, I believe. He beat me at TPI, then he beat me once, and then I beat him once. So he had 2-1 on me, I believe.
Okay.
Am I making that up, or was it?
That sounds about right when I was going through stuff.
No, I mean, that's what I remember in my head.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's 3 matches. He won 2, I won 1, but they all blend together.
And
I just remember being good friends with him because we would talk to each other, and we would make fun of he would make fun of uh, um, Zandig, about ultra violent, no, and then I would make fun of Ian. You can't go to CZW. You can't go there because no. All the bullshit. So and then Ian said I couldn't go there, and then I remember one show they had to get done, them and JC and Necker. I'm like, what? He's like, well, we got to go. He fucking sidestepped me, button hooked me, and he fucking goddamn that started the invasion without me. I yelled at him that. I was like, that's bullshit. And they didn't take me with them. And then the next time they said no, he was supposed to take me with him, but he took JC instead. It wasn't JC's fault. It was just Ian being a fucking prick. So when we went to the Tournament of Death 2 was my second, that was when I wrestled Zandig, and he told me this was going to be, or Mondo told me it was going to be his last match. And it was, I was wrestling Zandig that show. And I went up to him and said, watch my promo. And I said, cut the music. And I started doing my, the impression of Mondo doing an impression of Zandig. And I told him, I was like, let's just have you walk out of the ring. Besides, by the look at it, you're due any day now. Because, and then I said, but we all know you're not going to, because my name's Zandig. I'm ultra violent. Fuckity fuck. And then if anyone that knows him knew that he chewed like a whole 2 packs of gum before he went out and wrestled. And the look on his face when I was telling him about that, he looked like he was legitimately pissed. And he took his gum and he went, whoo, and it hit me right in the chest and fell before the match. And I didn't even think about it. As soon as it hit the match, I reached down, I grabbed it, and I put it in my mouth and started chewing it, just stared at him. And he had to turn around because he almost started fucking laughing. So, well, then I got this great scar from that that match. But no, that was, me and Mondo were always cool, man. He actually, believe it or not, he's the one that helped get IWA, that invasion, and get a lot of the IWA guys into CZW.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't.
He was kind of like the ambassador.
I didn't have anything to do with the CZW stuff. I think I took Ian the first time he went, and maybe the second time he went. And after that, I was like, find other people to take you out here. I'm not making this trip. It was way too long of a trip, and I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it was rough.
But we talk about how you had made your debut on like November 17th in 2001. You wrestle again on November 17th in 2002. You lose the light heavyweight title to Danny Daniels. Quite the birthday present for yourself. But you did that because you were going to spend a couple weeks in England and Scotland at the end of November.
England, Scotland, we were in France, and then in Switzerland.
That's a nice little tour. Was that your first?
Oh, in Ireland.
Tour?
In Ireland. Okay, yeah, that was my first time overseas.
And you got to take out so many great spots there in Europe. Did you actually get to do anything like fun touristy wise on that trip, or was it all?
It was fun touristy because I'm hanging out with, like, it was Sabu and Shark Boy and Konnan and Norman Smiley and Sting and Mike Sanders and Johnny Swinger and Disco Inferno, and it was just a big drunken mess, really. But we had a good time. We pissed off Lex Luger and Saturn a lot. Saturn beat me up a lot.
Okay. Who put on the tour?
WWA. It's a guy named Andrew McManus that did it, and he did a couple of them. He did a big pay-per-view in Vegas. He did a Australian tour, and he did the European tour, which I was on. And he was like a billionaire, and he did like concerts and stuff like that. And the last time I looked, he's in prison for some kind of tax reasons and drug related issues.
Okay. All right.
But
so
he was a very nice guy.
He fit into the wrestling business quite well then.
Yeah.
If that was what he was doing. How did you end up getting booked onto that?
Puppet went to, actually it was Jeremy Borash a lot, and Puppet went to Borash because and he said, hey, Puppet said, give me like a 5 to 10 minute video, which I did, and he booked me for it.
That's cool. That's great that you got to do that. And that was still pretty early in your career. You were only in a few
3 years in.
3 years in at that point. So that's pretty damn good. And you come back from England and Scotland and Switzerland, France, all those great places. You get
and I'll never forget. That's because I know you're going to ask me something about TNA, but a lot of that has to do why I went down to TNA, because not because of my wrestling, it was because of my attitude, how I acted. Because I could have got shitty that Saturn was beating me up every night, which it was shitty because I'm not going to say the reasons why. Like there was some like politics going on that had nothing to do with me, but whatever. But it's how I handled it. And then Saturn went out, or then Sabu got a hold of Saturn, and Saturn tried to shoot on Sabu and knocked his tooth out. Sabu picked it up and started beating the shit out of him. Sabu, I remember that. And we, at the end of the tour, Mike Sanders, and who I don't know if you've ever been around, but he's fucking hilarious. And he did the end of and by the end of a tour awards, all he did was go down to the center, the one of the hotels conference, whatever, where the computers were back in the day before everyone had smartphones, media center or business center or whatever it was. And he printed out just in like whatever Microsoft Word, best like Shark Boys award was the Krusty Clown Award because all the kids loved him. And then he'd go out around where the kids weren't. He'd take off his mask and be smoking his cigarettes. And then T.O. was on it. He got the quote of the tour, which I'm not going to get into. But and then I got the best ass kicking by Perry Saturn award. Okay. And then finally, the last one, he went, and now this is the most important thing. Everyone was having a good time laughing. And he goes, the MVP of the tour award goes to Lex Luger. And everyone's like, laughing or whatever, because he was just like miserable the whole fucking time he was there and just fucking hated everything. Made Elizabeth cry a lot. God damn it. But he took this goddamn award and he stood there and he gave a speech. Well, this really means a lot to me. And we're just like, do you think this is a shoot? Like, I don't.
Well, he wanted to celebrate his allocates.
The first time on the first day on the back of the bus, it was 5 guys in the back of the bus. Oh, Kazarian, I forgot. Kazarian was there. That's the first one I met him. And there was 5 guys in the back of the bus that consisted of me, Konnan, Joey Legend, Frankie Kazarian, who did I say? And Shark Boy. There's 5 of us. And there was always 5 seats on the back of the bus. And then there was Pat from one row up. And that's Simon Diamond. And he could be, but like no one, like we picked who we wanted to be on the back of the bus. And then there was Glenn Gilberti, which is disco, going back and forth. And then we would always just sing songs and stuff on the back of the bus. But it was me, Shark, and Kazarian were sitting back there at first. And then Lex Luger comes all the way back. We're like, oh, cool. He goes, well, guys, just wanted to say, congratulations and welcome to the tour. This is your first time out with the big boys. So just try to keep your head on straight and see how things go. It's big boys now. I remember how it was being you. Driving it's 2, sometimes maybe 3 hours, and you're only making $600. And I'm like, oh my. And right when he said that is when we all realized he had no fucking clue.
Like, what?
Like, I'm only 3 years in, and I'm just like,
somebody had a pampered life.
Jesus Christ. Then every time we get to a fucking hotel, he'd be arguing with Elizabeth, throwing fucking goddamn baggage bigger than me across the fucking. It was kind of scary, but luckily there's a bunch of other people that were on the same page. So, whatever. But he's born again.
He is.
Good for him.
Well, when you might be responsible for someone's death, you
might be.
Hey, we don't need a lawsuit, okay?
What is he gonna sue us for?
I'm just saying, we
I look straight at. So, oh man, I was in fucking. We had like a 4-day layover in the most expensive city that we were the whole time, Zurich, Switzerland. And actually, that's where I met Claudio before he became, or while he was training, or right before he became a wrestler. That's where I met Claudio.
Okay.
And then, like 6 months, a year later, he was over in IWA.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I met Claudio over there because he came to the hotel, and I got a picture with him. First time he got a picture with me, and that was the first time we met. But like, we were standing over there, and we would go, like, the first day we walked in, and I ordered 3 shots of tequila or Jose Cuervo. It was like me, it was me, Pat, and Shark Boy, I believe, or me, Konnan, and Shark Boy. I can't remember. And I ordered it. It was $17 a shot. And this is in 2002. And I'm like, we can't afford this. And then all of a sudden, Andrew McManus came down, and he's like, hey guys, you guys want to go have a drink with me? And we're like, oh yeah. And then of course we're there all fucking day, woo, drinking, because he had the whole tab. So the next day, you get up, you go down to the lobby, you look around, you see someone, you're like, hey, like, what are you doing down here? We all had slowly, you'd see another wrestler come down. We all had the same idea. We just kind of wait there to see if Andrew McManus showed up. Hey guys, you want to go have a drink? Okay. And then we all run it. That happened like 4 days or 3 days in a row. So we just would wait for like sometimes like 2 hours, just like, he's going to be down any minute or something. And then he would take. And there was I have a picture with her. There was the concierge, and her name tag said T Funk.
Really?
And her name. I said, Terry Funk. She was like, no. Her name was Tatiana Funk. That's what she said her name was.
Okay.
But T Funk. We all the boys popped when we always said Terry Funk was our concierge.
Nice. That would have added to the experience quite a bit.
But to go back to us being sued, I just remember fucking Elizabeth one day. I went down there, and she just over to the side of the lobby, just sitting in a chair by herself, just sobbing, and I'm just like, and I'm like, I don't know how to get out of here, like, and I'm just like, and no other wrestlers down here, and she just finally looked right at me, and I'm across the lobby, and I'm like, so I walk over there. I'm like, because she made eye contact with me. I'm like, hey, it's okay. You okay? I'll be fine. And I don't. That's as far as it got. I'm like, then she got up and left. I was like, yeah, but whatever. What do I know? I don't know shit. That was my first time on a tour with the big boys.
Well,
not having to drive. Not having to drive
2 hours to make $600.
2 or 3 hours for only $600. Because that's what I was making back in 02. $600 a show on the indies.
So you were the reason nobody else was getting money on IWA.
Fuck yeah.
You were making it all.
Me and Lex Luger. And fucking me, Lex Luger, Shark Boy Kazarian, making
those big paydays. But
only $600.
Only $600. Now
I forgot to ask him if he got trans for those shows. Was that? I should have said, was that plus trans? He would have been like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that would have been quite an experience. But you come back to the States, and you mentioned it. You then end up going to TNA.
Yep.
Yeah, and you get to work Jerry Lynn in one of the first matches you do with
It was my first match. It was on his 40th birthday. And I walked up to him and I said, "Gee, Jerry, I'm really sorry you have to dress. Gee, Jerry, I'm really sorry you have to wrestle me on your 40th birthday." He goes, "Oh no, it's all right. We're gonna have fun." And he did the Carlton in the middle of the ring, and then ran and baseball slid me while I was in the tree of woe, the tree, or as Prazak would say, the tree of Joey Lawrence.
Yes. Whoa. Tree of Joey Lawrence. That was my favorite move there for a while because of the way he would call that. So you said it was Jeremy Borash through Puppet that got you probably into TNA then too?
Well, because I was at the first two TNA shows. I was in Alabama and Nashville. And I was at the first two pay-per-views, and the midgets were on. And I'm like, shit, I remember I met Toby Keith, and I'm like, why the fuck is Toby Keith here? And he's a big dude, man. And he entered a battle royal and gorilla pressed Jeff Jarrett out of the ring or whatever. But then when it was in Nashville at the Asylum, which is no longer standing, believe it or not, and we went down there pretty much every week, and our liaison to then was Bill Behrens.
Okay.
Really, and I'm trying to remember because the midgets would go down there, and then Punk and was going down there, and Prazak. So then they would stop in Indy and grab me, and then we'd drive to Clarksville to Wynn, where Mark Wolf and Hero lived. And then we'd stay the night on Tuesday, and then we get up Wednesday morning, and we drive the other 2.5 hours or so down to 2.5, 3 hours down to Nashville. And then we'd show up and we'd be like, "Are we wrestling?" Because we didn't know it all the time. And then your name would be on the board, and sometimes it wasn't on the board. You're like, "Oh," and then the other wrestlers, because we got in good because we didn't bitch or whine or complain about shit. We just showed up and did whatever they fucking told us. We sold and bumped our ass off, and that's how you got fucking spots. You sold and bumped your ass off. So I remember one time D'Lo Brown's like, "No, I don't want that guy. Give me Nate Webb. Give me him. I want him." I'm like, nice. So they would sometimes change it, just because they knew I think they knew at least they knew I would make them, I would sell my ass off for them. Well, I wrestled 3 Live Crew probably 30 fucking times. The Harris Brothers. God, D'Lo Brown. One of Samoan's younger sons, Alpha is Samu. What was his? Was his nephew? Monty Brown. Okay. Fucking Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, all the Jerry Lynn, Konnan, Road Dogg, Ron Killings. I'm trying to think. A lot of people, man.
Yeah, it was quite an experience that you were able to gather.
Elix Skipper. Me and Hero versus Jerry Lynn and Elix Skipper. That's on YouTube somewhere.
Nice. We can jump ahead to February 13th, 2004. You had a match in IWA against Sabu and JC Bailey. Do you have any memories of that 3-way?
I do, and I was going to tell it because I went to try. I was trying to get. So I on the road and I was making good time, and then there's this big backup in Indianapolis, and I was sitting there for 2 hours in Indianapolis. I couldn't get off, and it was literally a mile and a half or 2 miles, 2.5 miles. I was sitting there where I couldn't get off. It was just, and I could, and I had to turn. I had to turn around. I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to fucking make it. This thing. And I was going to tell the story at his celebration of life because I was so excited because we'd been in Europe and I hadn't wrestled him yet, and this is the first time this is the first time I was getting to wrestle him, believe it or not. But I took care of, believe it or not, like he passed out one time and his food on the first pay-per-view, and everyone was just kind of staring, and I picked him up and I carried him out of the room and put him on a couch, and he was fine to go by showtime. But he always I think he always appreciated it. He never said thanks, but he did things. You knew he was appreciative because we were always cool. We always, talked, and he'd always take me places like when let's go hang out. And then he would buy, we're going in here, and he would like just hand me a drink. I didn't know what it was, like, or tequila, whatever he was drinking, he would buy. And he was always a cool dude. I really like Sabu. And I got to hang out with him, and I got to hang out with him one more time before he passed in last year in Las Vegas. So, and Tio was there too. So that was really cool. We got to hang out with and he asked me the same thing he does before. Hey, see this guy, he's acting kind of weird. He got my back. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Sabu. It's like, and I look over at the guy he's talking to. It's like, I was like, you'd kick the shit out of that guy. And he's always got his fucking spike in his hand. I'm like, he's getting ready to stab this dude. But no, that match with JC, that's what I was gonna tell. The first time I wrestled Sabu from day one, we locked up. We had everything called, man. We had like a bunch of spots, fucking tables, chairs, or whatever. And we got the thing where JC was somewhere, and me and him locked up, and I pushed him back the corner, and we were gonna do all the tables, and all of a sudden, you know what he said to me when I pushed him back in the corner? Lighten the fuck up. I was like, what? So that's what
You locked up with him too stiff, huh?
Apparently. I was like, we're just getting ready to go through these tables. What was it? I don't know. Lighten the fuck up. Yeah.
And also in 2004, you got to go to Japan. Was that your first trip to Japan?
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 times.
Have any memories of being over in Japan?
Yeah. No, it was fun. I went over there with M Dog once. Went over there with Supreme, Asada, maybe M Dog a couple times. Pondo was there. Necro was with one. Was Necro? Was it me, Necro, and Supreme, or was it? It's once again they all blur together, and I can't remember who was on what trips. But I know Masada was there. Oh, Zach Gallen was over there on one.
But you said you did 4 tours.
I think 3 or 4 or 5, 3 or 4 or 5. What? It's just like I said. It's just they blend together.
Yeah, but you were able to get the Ribera jacket, and
yeah, I have it right over there.
Okay, very cool. What color did you get?
I got black and red.
Black.
Red. Hold on a second. Let me see. I never wear this either, so.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Like got the black and red.
It's got the IWA color scheme going to it there.
Yep.
Perfect.
And, nice. This is on the back there.
Nice. That's pretty good.
It looked like I did coming out of the bag when I got it.
Nice. Well, it's a hell of a keepsake to have. That's a mark that you made it is when you get that Ribera jacket. So
I know. I always thought about like trying to get like people like because I see people all the time that got like big, major people that've been to Japan that have been to Ribera, and I was gonna, but I don't know if people look down on it or not. Maybe if I go back and get it, because I know some people, they're like, I think Pondo has 30 of them.
Yeah, he was talking about how he has more, like you're really only supposed to get one, but he asked for permission and has been able to get more with the amount of times that he's been over there.
So. Well, I know people over, like Necro's got a few of them too.
Yeah.
If I ever got another, and I might, like, I thought it'd be a good idea to get a bunch of people, I don't know, just that I know that's been over there to have one sign this jacket and auction it for like a charity, if I could figure it out.
Mitch Page got his autographed. He took his to we went to a NWA Legends convention in Atlanta one year, and he got like Nick Bockwinkel and Stan Hansen and
oh, that's cool.
Got guys that were at that event that we knew had been to Japan. He got them to sign it, so he's got a lot of little cool signatures on his jacket. So yeah, that
I just thought
I had found it like one of those conventions that I went to. I was able to get a Four Horsemen ring jacket.
Oh, cool.
And so I had like everybody that I came across that was in the Horsemen, I had signed the thing. And at one point when I was trying to work 5 different jobs,
I feel like I'm showing off wearing this jacket. I got to take it off now. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm showing off. I've been to fucking Rivera, Jig.
Hey, I was the one that made you. I was the one to make you go do it. I asked about it, so not showing off. But yeah, I had a Four Horsemen jacket that I was able to get from a convention, and I had gotten a bunch of signatures. So then Mitch was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that with the Rivera jacket."
That's cool. What color was his?
His is
it
like
green?
His is, I think, is purple.
Silver with the purple or purple with the white?
If I can remember right, it might be purple and white if I remember right. But
I mean, they're quality jackets. I don't know if they're still like this, but it's nice. Like this is 20-some years old, 22 years old, and it looks like. I mean, look, it doesn't even.
Yeah,
there's no cracks. I mean,
I
also hardly wear. Where the hell did it go? There's no cracks, like anywhere.
Yeah, that's a beautiful jacket. So yeah, very nice. But we're gonna start wrapping this up.
Okay.
So we're gonna start talking about some different people and asking stories about. Have to bring up Crazy Pipe Guy. Cannot talk about Nate Webb without mentioning Crazy Pipe Guy. So what kind of stories can you share with us about Crazy Pipe Guy and how that bond started?
Someone told me his name a while back. He's passed away I think what they say, he passed away maybe about 2008 to 2010. I can't remember. But they said his name because someone knew a neighbor down there, of his or whatever. But he would drive his little he lived down there, but he also had a house, but he would drive his little camper to the shows. And I always called him Crazy Pipe Guy. Hey, Crazy Pipe Guy. He's like, and he kind of liked the whole gimmick. And then, and what you guys see is my interactions with him. I'd see him before the show. I'd say hi or whatever. Or I'd go out, but that's pretty much my interactions until the last few times that we were there. He said, "Hey, you want to come out?" And like, he's got this nice camper. This got stocked with beer and all kinds of stuff. So after my match, I'd go out with him and we'd sit in the camper and just drink beer the last couple of times. I wish I would have known about it sooner.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. Crazy Pipe Guy. He's like, if you want, you can sleep in here, man. You don't have to. I don't know if that would have been a good idea looking back. I was a lot younger.
He could have drove you to all the towns and you could have just slept in the camper.
We should have done that.
That would have been something.
Or you would have found my body somewhere, but whatever.
Hey, but have you ever had any other fans through the years that had that kind of where you just became known for the interactions that you would have with them on the shows?
One guy got my logo tattooed on him, and then had me autograph it. and then had my signature tattooed over it.
Okay.
But I mean, that was just someone that did it,
Right. Okay.
or a Spyder
Uh,
tattoo, and then had the.
for my own personal interest, uh, you did get to be managed by Lollipop in
Lollipop.
IWA Mid South. I never watched TNA, but I guess is that where you met her? Was when you were doing the TNA shows,
Yeah.
or
Yep. That's where I met her. Jamie is her name. And I believe it or not, I've kept in touch with her.
I would hope so, my friend. I would hope. I
And
would
she
definitely.
is doing well. She has a lovely family now. I think she has three girls or whatever, going high school, and um, just like I see it like on Facebook, on family vacation and whatnot, and she's having a great life, man.
Good. How long did she stay in the business? Do you know?
Not too long after that, you know, did a little bit of TNA Nashville. After that Nashville run, she kind of got out of it.
Okay. All right. You've mentioned them quite a bit in the podcast, the Bloody Midgets.
Yep.
How did you get hooked up with them, and any kind of
Well, that was through.
road stories with them that you can
Oh
share?
God. Where I mean, what? Fuck, man. That's a whole like, dude. We could do a
That's
whole
a
nother
whole
pod.
podcast of just them.
Dude, we can do a whole podcast with midgets. I could be a whole like I could do a whole podcast with IWA and then one with that, and we hadn't even got to like these later years with
Right.
GCW. You
Right.
know, like I have three different like things I could talk about in my career that are like seem like their own entities.
Right. And that's shows just what an accomplished career that you've had. That you've had that many.
Oh, I don't know if
That
it's
you've had that many
accomplished.
different eras that you can
Well,
talk
see, people
about.
people say, "Oh, he's a legend," and that I think that gets thrown around way too much. The word legend, because that's not. I mean, like, I'm not like, dude, indie darling, yes, maybe, but like, I don't know about legend. The only reason they use that term is because not because of the quality, it's just because how long I've been around. I've been around for 27 years. That's just endurance, is all that is.
Right, but you got to be doing something right, or else you wouldn't have been around that long.
Well, I'm not an ass bag. How's that? I'm not a shithead.
See, so you got that over me. You know,
Well, that's just no, you know what I mean. That's just basic human decency. Come on.
uh, so pick your best bloody midget story. Since this is an IWA podcast, it could be. It doesn't have to be one of the times that the midgets came in and were with us on an IWA show. But what's your overall best midget story?
Well, there's one time when Ace Steel actually came to see me, and this had to have been somewhere around 2011, 2010. No, before that. No, it was after that. 2011 or something. 2012. We were in Springfield, Missouri, at this and Harley race. It was his ring, and sure enough, we were all in the back, and all of a sudden, and Ace Steel met me there. I don't know. It was. I don't know if it's a crazy story because Ace Steel, I hadn't seen him in a while, and we're like, oh hey yeah, dude, come back here, and then we're hanging out, drinking some beers, and then all of a sudden, Kimbo Slice walks in, and there's a lot of midgets there. There's like fucking 12 midgets, and then Kimbo Slice walks in when he's at the height of his thing, and his interaction with all the midgets. I mean, I don't know. Me and Ace are just staring at each other like, is this really fucking happening? Like, I think he had to text Pump. And it's like, dude, we're backstage with a bunch of midgets and Kimbo Slice. And one of the midgets has your shirt on.
Nice. What was the favorite death match that you've ever had?
My favorite?
Yeah. So
I don't know, man.
it
That
doesn't
first
have to
one
be IWA.
There was one against that one with Pondo was really good, but there's this one, I don't know if it was a death match or just fucking crazy dumb shit. Me and JC had a couple of good ones, and we had this one in the ECW arena that was nutty. That where the finish, I climbed the scaffold and I jumped and I grabbed the rafters and I monkey barred across the fucking arena from the side to over the ring and just hung there and then let go through a table, like a leg drop through a table. And that was a crazy match. I remember being, but there's some bloodier ones. Like recently, like I'll remember it because I fucking superplexed Schlack and shattered my clavicle and was out for 1 week shy of a year. And then I came back this past September. My first match was against Matt Cardona. So I beat Matt Cardona here in Indianapolis, which was cool. So first match we started with Mitch Page to Matt Cardona.
Yeah. Well, and I remember the Matt Cardona one because I think that was when I started had gotten back onto social media right around that point and I was like sending you like, make sure you go to sleep, make sure you get your rest, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Trying to send you like manager tips.
And then I enjoyed when Matt Cardona was in the Indies. He just got re-signed. But for somewhere where he would be he was very humble about everything he did. And I think he did a lot on the Indies and he helped a lot of younger guys on the Indies, which people say, and Cardona did. And I mean, I know you didn't ask about this, but I just, he did help a lot of people. Then I tell you what, me and Joey Janela and Megan and who else was there? And Matt Matt Tremont and Brett, we went out to St. Elmo Steakhouse in Indianapolis, which is a famous steakhouse. And they brought the check and he goes, I got it. And he bought everyone's meal. And I don't know. He did more for indie wrestling than I think indie wrestling did for him. Or maybe not. Maybe that's why he got re-signed. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well,
but he was making hella money on the indies, anyway. But I mean, he knew how to market himself really well.
Yeah, he had the following and did a good job marketing himself. That's for sure. So
he was a great asshole, man.
And so those were your favorites. Flip side, what was the most hated death match that you just couldn't stand?
Me and Cardona wasn't a death match. That was just a match.
Right.
Yeah. In the rain that lasted 5 minutes. But once again, maybe Schlack, because not that it was Schlack, and just because I just remember it because at the time, was it 26 years? That was the first time I ever broke a bone in my life and in wrestling.
Okay.
So that sucked.
That's a long ways to go without.
Well,
without
you know what? I wasn't really. And they're like, he goes, "You're not." It's like, you seem like you'd be more upset than you are. I'm like, dude, it's 26. It's like 26 years, man. That's and all the dumb shit I've done. That's a hell of a run. And that's all that. I mean, I had little bumps and bruises and stuff like that, but cuts, but nothing that kept me out too fucking long.
So, what is your favorite non-death match? Was it the Cardona experience? Was it
no? I mean,
Was it something else?
I had some good matches with B-Boy. I had that one against. I remember those. I had one against Hero. A couple against Hero that I really liked. Some against JC. There was a 3-way in IWA with me, B-Boy, and Matt Seidel that was really good. Was crazy. Trying to think. What's another match that I really, really liked? And then there was one of me and B-Boy that where I played myself. And more recent, it was me and MJF when Wheatus played me out to the ring.
Okay.
That was fucking awesome.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask about them. So we can go into that right now.
Okay.
talk. How did that friendship or whatever
Well,
I mean, would you call it a friendship that you've got with them?
oh yeah, man.
How did that come about? Other than, I
We
mean,
start
just
we
be
started
playing the song.
someone mentioned something on Twitter, but like we started following. I followed them, and they started following me on Twitter, and then I DM them, they DM me back, and then like they invited me to. They were coming to Indiana, down at IU Bloomington, Indiana. So I said, yeah, it's only like 45 minutes from from Indianapolis. I'll come down there. And then they invited me, and I went down there, and I saw him, and I met him after the show, and I brought him an Iron Maiden album unopened that I had for years. Like, oh, there you go. And then we took a picture. We talked. We just kind of stayed in touch, talking back and forth. And then Joey asked me about, or Brett asked me about this show in New York, which I didn't really want to wrestle in New York because of the whole 9/11 thing. I was supposed to wrestle Randy Savage on
Right.
9/12. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It's never going to top that. But I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I can get close. And then I said, hey, let me get back to you, Brett. And I messaged Wheatus or Brendan, DM'd him. And then I sent my number, and he texted me, and then I texted him. And then we had a time for a call. And then I asked him, and it's like, listen, this is what's going on. He goes, well, I don't know. He goes, I was like, well, I have wanted to always get in a wrestling ring. I was like, you can get in a wrestling ring. He goes, oh, I used to watch it all the time, man. I've always wanted to get in a wrestling ring and do the Jake the Snake DDT. I was like, you can do that in the match. You can DDT whoever you want, and I will get you a fucking snake if you want. You can do anything you want. We'll get you a snake in a bag. I don't give a shit if you want to do this. I mean, and then he goes, let me get back with you. A couple days later, he gets back. He goes, well, we're not doing anything that day. I was like, we're in town. We'll do it. And fucking, they goddamn did it. And he got involved in the match. And MJF fucking, even before the match, goddamn forearmed him in the fucking head, damn near through the drum set. I'm like, Jesus, glasses go flying. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I got a picture of him. He fucking goddamn makes a save at the end of the match, and MJF has a chair over his head, and you see this fucking, he belts him right in the fucking sternum, and you see the skin wrapping. There's a still shot just wrapping around his fucking foot where he kicked him. He's like, ugh, dropped the chair, fucking, goddamn, ducked it, kicked, dropped the chair, fucking DDT. He went like this, fucking DDT on it.
Nice.
We just eliminated MJF from the, Brendan eliminated MJF from the clusterfuck one year too.
Okay, nice.
So nice. There's that.
That's cool that you were able to form that friendship and
and
during get to have that moment.
And we'd talk on the phone especially during the pandemic because no one could do anything, and he was always talking about his goddamn frying pan. And I'm like, what? It's like, my frying pan. Because I had a cooking show on. And I wrote the song, and they did it. They performed it and recorded it. And I have a song that's on Spotify by Wheatus that I wrote for my cooking show.
Nice.
Awesome. And then I was like, this frying pan. He goes, yeah, I got to get my screwdriver because the handle always wants to come out. I was like, just get a new frying pan. He's like, I don't. So one day I asked him what his address was. And I think it was like, I Amazoned him a frying pan that I liked, that I had or whatever. He goes, you sent me a frying pan. Yeah. And then a few months later, all of a sudden this big box shows up at my house. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's this big giant box. I go out and I open it up, and it's a fucking electric guitar, dude.
Wow. Awesome.
And you have to look at it. It's a 1983 BC Rich Mockingbird, and it's amazing. And I didn't want to keep it because he goes, nope, you keep it. I'm like, I can't take this, dude. I know how much these things fucking cost. I was like, I bought you a fucking $40 frying pan. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Well, he's used to only having to drive 2 hours and making $600.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so he can get you the guitar.
right.
Oh, wow, that is.
And also, this is another thing. I in 2001, I drove out. They were in Cincinnati. I drove out because they were doing the first tour since the COVID thing with back on with Hoobastank, um, Everclear, and fucking Living Color. And I'm like, ooh. So this is the first time he ever because he had it shipped from Seattle to my place. So he'd never seen it. So I brought it with him. I had him, he goes, oh, where you at? So I'm pulling up to the venue now. And he walks out, he goes, see where the buses are? And he's like, yeah, just come over there. And I walk out and he comes walking out with these two black guys. And I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking Corey Glover and Vernon Reed. Fuck. Sorry.
That's all right. I don't know my music, so I couldn't help you there. I had no clue.
Vernon Reed. I kept wanting to say Vernon Davis, and I couldn't fucking think. And I was like, "That's a football player."
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a football
I kept
player.
thinking about my.
I know
This
Vernon
is what
Davis.
gets and fuck. I feel like an asshole now because I'm telling the story. I can't even fucking remember his name. Anyway, he's an amazing guitarist, and he fucking picked up. He goes, "Oh, let me and he fucking played my goddamn guitar, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" And I don't know if you know who they're the ones that do Punk's theme song.
Okay, the Cult of Personality.
Yeah.
One? Okay.
That's where I was getting. I kind of went off trail because I couldn't think of his fucking last name. Vernon fucking Reed. Motherfucker. God damn it. I ruined everything. Well, I ruined the fucking podcast.
No, I've ruined it a dozen times over by this point. So we'll finish this up with some IWA folks and your thoughts on them. Too Tough Tony.
I'm wrestling for him. I think it's still going on. It was postponed because of the big storm, but I'll be wrestling for him. It was postponed until this Sunday. I'll be wrestling for him on Sunday.
Grindhouse.
So, and he was actually my first death match. So, and we still stay in touch, you know. Nate Webb. That's why Too Tough Tony. You come down to Louisville. Louisville.
Nice. Corporal.
I don't know what. The last time I saw him was at IWA show, and I walked in, and all of the locker room were going nuts, just throwing things around. Like, what the fuck? We're looking for this bag of Cheetos. We can't find it anywhere, and Corporal was nowhere to be found. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, I'll go get you up to the fucking. I'll go buy you guys a bag of Cheetos. But it wasn't a bag of Cheetos. It was a bag of weed where this guy who sells weed apparently fucking packs it in Cheeto bags, like, you know, so that you can't tell that it's weed. And apparently Corporal took it and went somewhere. And then the last time I heard about Corporal was he was, I don't know if you saw it. He was in a one of those fucking rooms where the cops, what are they called?
Interrogation room.
Yeah, like an interrogation room, and he was just fucking name dropping and fucking throwing everyone under the fucking bus. People, I don't know who the people were, but so it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, okay. Man. Find someone looking at it. I swear to God, I don't know how it got on there, but I mean, he never did anything to me, but you know, it is what it is.
Pondo.
Well, he got me into IWA, dude. We've always he helped me over in Japan, and you know, he's gotten a lot of people in Japan. I mean, I couldn't count. I don't even. It's in the 20s, 30. I don't know, 20s. He's gotten a lot of people over there in Japan, man. And I'm gonna have to read his book. I never got to read his first book either. Maybe you can let me borrow it, or is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. That's how I put it on my Amazon wish list, and the in-laws had gotten it for me.
Yeah, but Pondo always did a lot for me, so, and he helped me out a lot, you know, introduced me to Ian, and I met him through the you know, through the midgets, the puppet and all them, so.
Mitch Page.
Oh man, I love Mitch Page, because like, even though that rock, I mean, I knew him beforehand, but like that, then him and Pondo had some heat, and that was a rocky start. But man, I love seeing Mitch Page. I got to see him this past uh what was it, August, and at the Gathering.
Okay, yeah, he did go to the
And
Gathering.
he came out, and he did, I don't know if it's his last one, but he did Fat Fuck Barrel Boy.
Well, now he after that he went back to calling himself that on Twitter. That's his Twitter handle now. Is
Yeah.
FF Barrel Boy.
Yeah. So I always love seeing Mitch, and I think I text him, when that whole thing with Mark Wolf a month or so ago. So
Chris Hero.
that guy has seen every wrestling match that's ever fucking happened. And I actually got to see him. I see him over the time because I'll do some one-off spots when they're in the area they'll have me out to AEW or whatever. So, and it's cool because like the last time I was there, I didn't even think I was getting a payday, and then they asked me to do something. So I'm like, cool. But I get to hang out and see my friends. Like, but he's always around. But it's so weird to see him in that, and that role as what he does, producer, coach. It's just like I'm like, hey, Hero, what's going on? Oh, okay, I gotta do this and this is. It's like all over the place. I'm like, it's like he's not just calling matches for himself. He's giving everyone all these ideas. It's just weird for me to see him in that role because I'm used to IWA and wrestling, wrestler Chris Hero, not producer
Right.
coach Chris Hero. But
Yeah,
we've always gotten along. Like, man, like I said, I've known him since before IWA too.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to Hero in forever, and then I think I had saw him once after IWA, or after I had left IWA in 2009. I'd seen him once. He made an appearance at the what was her name? Victoria had the wrestling themed restaurant here in Chicago, the Squared Circle restaurant, and he had come in and did an appearance there. So I went to the restaurant and met him. I can't even remember what year that would have been. It probably, it probably was 10, 15 years ago now, because it was when I was working with the Cubs. So it had to have been somewhere between 2011 and 2015. And I went and saw him there, and I hadn't talked to him since. And then Mark Wolf's brother had reached out to me to tell me about Mark. So then I don't have any, at that point, I didn't have anybody's contact info. So then I'm like trying to
get, that's what I was saying. You would contact me. I still had your number.
the wrong one though. You had
it's the one I had for years.
But you had it, and so I was like trying to reach out to Nick Manawa, Brent Blades, anybody I could think of that might have his number, because I wanted to I didn't want to just send him a Facebook message. I wanted to try to at least send it more personally to him, or call him, and then somebody like Mark's boss had ended up getting a hold of him. So then he sent me a Facebook message because he didn't know any other way to get a hold of me. And we chatted a little bit around that time, and I haven't been able to touch base with him. I tried to send him a couple of messages, but
I've talked with him or messaged with him because I saw him right before right like the beginning of December is when I saw him, but I've messaged him some, so hopefully I'll see him soon.
Well, hopefully they'll come back through Indianapolis soon. I know they were just in Chicago not too long ago, but he had taken off and didn't come to those shows, so I didn't get a chance to see him at that point. But anything that you want to say about Mark before we get out of here?
Man, he was a different kind of guy, man. It's just like he was always. People don't realize how big of a presence he was, even though it wasn't like in IWA. You know, he helped a lot of people backstage, and you know, he's really mellow dude if you to know him. You know, and you know, if he wanted to kick your ass, he probably could do that too because he knew his shit. You
Yes,
know,
yes, he
he was
did.
a catch wrestler, dude,
Yeah.
and he could do that shit. You know, like the Ganyas and shit like that. But he I don't know, it's just like we always got along. Like, you know, we'd take fucking baby Satan or Ian Rotten's son, John Calvin. We'd have to babysit him sometimes, you know, like when we're on the road, we'd take him to a mall or whatever. Um, and you know, he came on a couple tours with the midgets with us, you know, just do it like in Texas and stuff, you know. And we always talk, and we always talked about getting together when he came back up here because he was thinking about coming up here. And then I know him and Harry would talk, and Harry, you know, since his mom passed and everything, he didn't really have the family down there. Tried to get him to come back up here, but you know, it didn't really work out. So, but I kept in touch with Mark a lot, and you know, he's just a really nice dude, and you know, he was honest. You know, you could trust him, you know, which is far and few between sometimes in wrestling. You know, he's always helping someone out, and he never was in it for himself. So um, he'll be missed.
Definitely will be missed. So the last question I'm going to have, and I told you I was going to ask this one. You were one of the ones that I never managed in IWA, even though we were on so many shows together. So I just posed the question at the height of our powers, where you were such a huge baby face and I was such a huge heel. If we somehow had joined forces at that point in time in IWA Mid South, were you so much of a baby face that would have then made me a baby face? Or was I so much of a heel that it would have made you a heel at that point? How do you think it would have been?
Depends on the booking, brother. Depends on how we're booked. I couldn't. It's hard. I thought about that. It's a hard question, but I tell you what, though. I did the only time the biggest time that our heel and babyface is clashed, it turned into almost a shoot, and I know you're gonna. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's it was the King of the Death Matches 2003.
Oh
Where
yes, yeah. I was just going to go ahead and leave that one out since we
nope, no, 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 no.
And how deep we are into time here. But yes,
Look at we gotta go. We're out of time. Click.
We're out of time, Tony Schiavone. But yeah, that was the 2003 King of the Death Matches. You had probably your most well-known entrance besides
Yeah,
singing you to the ring live. Was the 99
red balloons
and
by Goldfinger.
That entire song played, and then the entire Teenage Dirtbag played, and I'm losing my fucking mind because I still have to perform,
and you have to go to work,
and I have to go to my shoot job. And I kept telling you before the show, I was like, I need to get out of here. We can't have the 20-minute entrance. We need to go.
Well, I was trying to have you first, and then I don't know. I think someone was screwing with us both, but I had to do it because I mean, like, I took all that time. You know how many balloons I blew up?
Like it was 99.
No, it was more than 99. I'll tell you that much. And then I couldn't fill up 99. Oh, I almost did. I went down to the Hooters down the street off of exit 2. Remember?
Yeah.
There's a Hooters right down the street off of exit 2. And I walked in there with all these red balloons that I bought with my own money. And they're like, and the girls were like, I was like, can we use your helium? They're like, huh? Because they have a big helium tape. I told them what we're doing. And I'm like, and I thought we were going to we're getting off here in a minute. I was like, you all have free passes. to the thing, and I told everyone a bunch of Hooters girls are going to come out with me. They never showed up, but
they never showed. Oh,
so yeah, so it was me, Becky Bayless. She made her IWA Mid South debut that match, and and then Jerry Lynn had to come out and dance, and then it was
going and going and
going. And I was blown up.
I was throwing shit in the God damn it! I need to get the fucking work, and I mean it wouldn't have been the end of the world because Mike Miller was the store manager, so he was out in the crowd watching Mike the Miller. Show. So
yeah,
I was just so mad.
And now knowing that Mike Miller was a store manager, okay. So here's my answer to the question. I think at our heights, in IWA at least, I mean, because at our heights, you're heeliest, and me, and they put us together. I think it would just make you more of a heel and me more of a face. I don't think it would change anything. I don't think it would. Me being a face would piss you off until it became a shoot. And you ended up throwing something at me, and that would just make me more heel.
And there was absolutely no turning me babyface. I know that.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any turning you heel at that point because I think he tried it.
Ian tried it, and it was stupid.
He tried it, and it never worked because I think the closest it came was when you were with Lollipop, and she wouldn't let you do the dancing and the high flying and stuff. And but the crowd still loved you.
Yep.
I mean, of course, you had a drop dead gorgeous woman with you, so
they still like me, and I had a hot chick on my side, so whatever. He's not going to do flips. Who cares?
Right. But it would have been an interesting social experiment to see how that would have worked out at that point in time. To see if we could have turned one of the other to the other side, but.
Like I said, I think you just would have gotten more of a heel, and I would have became more of a baby face.
Yeah,
I don't think there's no redemption arc in this.
Right, I think you're right with that one. So we're gonna finish up here. Do you have anything that you need to hype? You already mentioned you got a show coming up with Too Tough Tony for Grindhouse. This episode will release right before that show. So if you're listening to this live. Live as we release it on Friday morning. You can get out to Jefferson. It's Jeffersonville, right?
Yeah, at the arena.
At the arena there for Grindhouse. Is that a afternoon show? Is that
I think it's a 3 p.m. show.
3 p.m. So Sunday 3 p.m. If you're in the Kentuckiana area, you can come out and watch Nate Webb wrestle at the arena there in Jeffersonville.
At the Rumble.
The Rumble. Do you got any other upcoming shows that you want to hype?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Do you still have your Spyder shirts? I've seen you post those online a couple of times. You got any of those?
I might have one or two. I need to restock up.
Okay. Any social media ways that the fans can contact you and keep in contact with what keep up to date with your schedule?
Spyder Nate Webb on Twitter.
Is it Spyder Nate Webb or is it Nate Spyder Webb?
You know what? Read the room right there.
Read the room right there, right up there.
Read my room.
Spyder Nate Webb. So
Spyder Nate Webb. Read the room.
Spyder Nate Webb on Twitter. All right, and you'll keep. Do you like fans reaching out to you on there? Or?
Oh, I don't mind. I try to get them all that I can. Or you can, or you can message me at on Instagram, which is Spyder Nate Webb, but Nate spelled in and the number 8.
Okay.
At Spyder Nate Webb. So SPYDER in the number 8 WABB. WEBB. Sorry, not Wab.
Yeah, so you're messing it up now yourself.
Yeah. Spyder Nate Webb.
Webb.
Sounds like Mitch. Nate Webb. Hey, Nate Webb. Mitch, no. Yeah. Just doing the cardio, man.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up another edition of Fannin's Flashbacks. I'd like to thank Nate Webb for joining me today. It's been a blast going down memory lane. Remember to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/sportsfannin for IWA clips and matches and these podcasts. When you get to the YouTube channel, start by hitting subscribe, then look around and click like on some of the videos. Also, give the other podcasts in the BNMVS network a listen if you haven't already. Reed Bentley, Nick Manawa, and Mike Ruff have some great stuff on here to listen to. If you are interested in vintage IWA Mid-South t-shirts, kind of like the Till the Bloody End one that I'm wearing right now, reach out to my godson, James Christopher. Follow him on Twitter at Candido24K_. And if you're looking to have some design work done for yourself, shoot James Christopher a DM. You can follow me on Twitter at jfannin73 and on Instagram at IWAFannin73. And as I've posted everywhere online, I'm open for a farewell tour in 2026. Before I turn 50 in November, I've got a bucket list of items that I didn't get to do before I left wrestling in 2009. So I'm trying to cross a few of those off the list, and I think I'm getting pretty close to having something to do on those. I want to manage Mickey Knuckles, John Wayne Murdoch, and Reed Bentley. I'd say I want to manage Nate, but I think we just discussed that it would just lead to us fighting each other and becoming a bigger heel and a bigger baby face. I want to do commentary with Nick Manawa, maybe even one last time with Dave Prazak. So if you want to help me accomplish any of these goals, you can reach out to me via email at bookjimfannin@gmail.com. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of Fannin's Flashbacks. So let it be written. So let it be done. Good day.